welcome to another episode of Coffee with Culver. It's officially Black History Month, and today I'll be having a very interesting speaker. We'll be exploring the topic of legacy. Let me introduce to you my speaker. He is a McMaster University graduate, a Black history educator, speaker, a writer, and an activist. Please help me welcome Kareem Gordon. Kareem, welcome, and I appreciate you taking time out to come and speak with me.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm very glad to be here.
Okay, so during this month of Black History, celebration. So as Black Canadians reflect, and when it comes to the topic of what do we leave for the next generation, not following the steps of our foreparents who luckily liberation has make it possible for us to be free. What do you think of legacy? What does legacy means to you?
To me, legacy is very important. Legacy is everything that we kind of strive for as a collective, as people, because at the end of it, legacy is the best thing that we can leave behind, right? So when we pass away, our family, our what they remember us for is not necessarily we could have a lot of money and things like that, but the money you can only go so far. Legacy is something that's going to be around forever. We have statues of some great people that may have lived 100 years ago. But we have statues and their legacy is what carries on today. So to me, legacy is kind of everything. It's our imprint, what we leave on the world after we are physically not here anymore.
Yeah, leaving an imprint is good, and then the history is there for them to read and to carry on. But I have to say, in your family-wise, something for them to keep carrying carrying the torch.
Yes.
What are you leaving for the next generation, for your children, so that your children can benefit?
What I plan to leave as my lasting legacy is, especially as an educator, a person that is very educated about many things, I want to leave a lasting legacy of motivation and just striving to learn better. Because I feel like the more we learn, the more we learn about the world, is the more we're able to impact the world. So if I'm not remembered for anything, I want to be remembered for inspiring those to go after their goals, go after everything that they want to dream for, because it's very possible if you want to. So my lasting legacy would be to be just going on the path of learning. I think it's one of the greatest things that we can do as a human, impacting the lives of others by just empowering them, motivating them to be the best that they can be.
So as an educator, as a youth activist, are you setting the example? Are you doing things right now that one can see, your child can see, your children, so that they will want to follow in your footsteps?
Yes, most definitely. I try to lead by example. Like even some of the children that when I talk with them, instead of making it very personalized about me, I try to tell them about things of how do they find out their passion. So one of the greatest things I believe that I can help young people when I mentor them and I talk with them, I say, well, the biggest thing, especially as the Black or Caribbean community, a lot of media focuses on the negative side of Black culture and things like that. So to get out of being young and falling into those stereotypes, I try to empower kids of what is your passions. So finding ways to make your passions into a career for you. And I've seen it actually working with some of the students that I've been working with. One of them, his passion was to be a musician. Now he had told his parents about how he wanted to be a musician, and they're kind of like, oh, everybody wants to be music, you should go study science instead. I said, well, instead of being discouraged by their comments, why don't you look and take your time to learn a way that you can make your passion into something that can pay your bills, or you can make it into a career? Because then that's kind of like the most empowering thing, because it's something that he loves already. And this was a couple of years ago, I would say about 3 years ago. In that time, he's now about to graduate school. He went and learned how to do professional recording of music. So he took his passion, yes, and I told him, but he found a way to actually make it a career and things like that. So to me, being able to impact lives like that is the greatest legacy. So that's what I focus on the most, trying to get people to realize the greatness in themselves, because we all have a lot of talents that we sometimes don't even know ourselves.
I know, and as you've mentioned, over the years, especially the media, they've made it into something negative. And it's time, freedom is here. So it's time to forget about the negative, focus on the positive, and encourage those who are around us. So for this Black History Month, do you intend to do anything different? Men, as you mentioned, the youth, you have to keep encouraging them. And even when they pick up something where, this could be a legacy living, you have to encourage them because obstacles will come. Is there anything you have planned for Black History Month with the youth this year?
Currently this month, I was actually working on a film project with my mother there. So this month we plan on putting out some of our film projects. It's to do about restorative justice, thinking about seeing as the Queen just died. So we're taking a revisited look at the whole battle for reparations and some of our Black history that may be untalked about, not talked about as much. So we're revisiting that discussion this month. And so if I'll send you the links to see where you can take a look at the film and everything. But that's pretty much our focus for this month, is getting that out there and trying to get out information to our people.
That's wonderful, and that's a legacy right there. So
Exactly.
as we approach Black History Month on this platform, what is it we would like to say to the youth out there or anyone in the Black culture?
Well, my last message, what I would say to them is to continue to learn about our past, because our past is full of, although there's people like to focus on the atrocities, the bad things that happen, there's a treasure trove of information that is very empowering, very impactful out there. So it's great to look back in the history, not just the bad parts of history. People like to talk about just slavery and things like that, but also learning about our true history of when we were kings and queens on this earth, when we ran many different areas. It great builds a great sense of unity, community. The more we can come together, the better that we can do for all. So I tend to, especially times like Black History Month, is a great time for learning these things, teaching these things to one another, and we all can kind of. I like to see a place where all the Black family, even though we come from different countries, or the diaspora, we can all be connected with our greatness. And it's very empowering. And that's not just for Black people, for everybody, but it's just looking at the whole, follow a lot of the great things that we've done in our history. There's thousands and thousands of examples. But yeah, follow along that journey of just learning more, because we, as a collective, we need to be more proud of your accomplishments. Be proud of our accomplishments. Look at how far we've come from. We still have far to go, but being proud of what we are and what we are capable of doing in this world. That's, I think, my lasting message where I would want to give to the people out there that are listening.
Okay, and I was thinking, looking at how, if you read about slavery, you think it was hard. What do you think they could have done? Or were their hands so tied that they could not have done anything until they have gotten to this part in 2023 and years prior where it's no freedom? What do you think they could have done to make things a little better?
As in as in like the
Black
government
culture.
or
Yeah.
Black culture. Um, post slavery. I think most of what we could have done more is kind of just focus on our community. Like there was a big point in time where we're very disconnected as a whole, as a community. So if there is anything we can do more, is try and bring back that connection as much as possible, because a lot of times we're able to be led over or controlled um by splitting us apart. So the easiest way is to split everyone. If we're a disconnected group, we don't see the power in how strong we all are together. If we are all together and are thinking one way, or at least a common goal, we're a lot more powerful than if we're just individual groups just trying to make it in this world. So getting back to that sense of community, that sense of oneness that we are with each other, that's kind of the thing that we can do more of, and that's in our power to do more of. Each person can make a choice every day to just try and be even more nice to your neighbor. That's an easy way to start within your home of how it can help us as a whole.
And as you said too, they were divided way back in the days, and it seems as if unity. So unity could even be a legacy. So
Mm-hmm.
don't you think they need to unite?
Oh,
And
most definitely.
but then we cannot forget about the history. But the past sometimes bring anger. How can they unite and forget about the anger?
Well, one thing is not necessarily to forget about the anger, but you have to utilize it in a productive way. So we can be angry about the things that have happened to us as a whole, and be angry about it, but we also need to be productive in it. So, okay, yes, that happened. We can acknowledge that it happened. Now, how can we do better as a whole? So we're taking that harsh emotion, instead of reacting with oh, well, we want to enslave others just because we were enslaved. No, how can we learn from this as a whole? How can we do this so it can never happen again? So it's kind of redirecting our energies to how we look at the whole problem as it was. A lot of times people want us to just focus on the emotional side of like the anger. That's why we'll get lots of movies. For example, we'll get a lot of movies talking about the slave narratives, but we won't have very many movies talking about the kings and queens of Africa. So you need a balance in the what we're teaching about the history. It's okay to focus, or not to focus, but to speak about the atrocities that have happened, but also talk about the great accomplishments. Those things need to be brought up more and more, and it raises our collective what's the word, self-value of of ourselves. So you won't have very many Black kids that are growing up having self-esteem issues because they only see on TV a negative representation of Black people. Well, if they know about a lot of these great pieces of history of great Black people that have done great things, it kind of brings a balance to that. That child is more likely to have a better self-awareness of themselves, or self-confidence when they're walking out into the world. They say, well, if I know that, if a lot of people don't know that Benjamin Banneker, who's the Big Ben, the clock in England, that's named after a Black man. A lot of people don't know this stuff. So if more people were to know these good things, it's very hard for you to feel down or negative about being Black. You embrace your Blackness, and that brings a different kind of profound power that we can change the world with.
Okay, so as a millennial, and looking at how far your parents have come, and probably you've seen a little of your grandparents, and then among your peers, what do you think? Are your peers walking the steps of their parents if they are in the Black community?
Speaking of like my friends that are in the Black community, like my Caribbean friends, a lot of them, I would say, for my generation, there's a disconnect. So the set of problems or issues that, say, like my parents' generation would have came as like when they first come to Canada is different than I think we would be called second generation. So our parents were born outside the country, but we were born here. Our set of issues or things that we deal with is different. So there's a certain, I feel that a lot of youth my age or my peers, they have a disconnect with trying to understand where our Caribbean parents are coming from, because we only know the Canadian system or the North American system, whereas they know back home system where it seems it's harder for them to kind of adjust to this new wave system and understanding each other. I think it's kind of like a disconnect of this lack of experience. So people that are from my generation, they kind of look down at it, like they don't understand, like, oh, it's not that hard, but it's not understanding that they're coming from a totally different world. The Caribbean was a different time than it is over here. This is like the pace of life, everything, the expectations of you as well. But the more we have conversations like this, I think that we can get a more common understanding, right? We can always learn from each other. That's the biggest thing, I think. Communication and these things is how we learn.
Yeah, communication. And there it is, Kareem. You have a lot of, as an educator, you have a lot to do now to teach the millennials exactly how it is. So probably you're gonna have to put together a curriculum and see how you can get it out there. So for Black History Month, is there anything special you're planning?
On February 18th, we do have a showcase of our film, February 18th, our restorative justice film. I will get you the details on that, so if you can share with your followers or anything. But that would be the biggest focus. Is going to be at the Burlington Public Library, February 18th. I'll get you the information about it, but that's probably the big event that I'm looking forward to. I'm going to have a sit down. We're going to be talking about, we're going to show the film, showcase our film, and also we're going to have a panel discussion about a lot of these issues that are going on in the Black community and how we can play a bigger role, or anybody that wants to get involved, they can have that time to speak as well. So that's pretty much the big focus for Black History Month. That's February 18th. Coming up.
Okay, Kareem, I just want to thank you for taking time out as an educator, as a speaker, and as an activist for talking to us on legacy on the Black Canadians and for Black History Month. So you enjoy your Black History Month, and thank you for joining me.
You as well, and thank you for having me very much.
You're most welcome. And that's it for Coffee with Clover. Thank you for watching. We'll have more episodes coming up on legacy. Thank you. Bye-bye.